If you were to walk into the homes of these prominent figures, Cameroonian football legend Roger Milla, Grammy Award-winning singers Brandy and Faith Evans, British actor James Faulkner, British soul singer Omar, several Cameroonian music legends, the daughter of Kwame Nkrumah, living legend from Jamaica, Muta Baruka, singers Angelique Kidjo and Angie Stone, you are likely to find the art of my guest today displayed in their homes. Today, we are talking to Shiri Achu, an artist and an architect who was born in Cameroon and has lived in the UK and the US. Welcome, Shiri. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making the time to talk to me and the audience. So I'm going to go straight into my first question for you. I know I have said some things about who you are, but from your words, who is Shiri Achu?
Right. Shiri Achu she is fun, loving. I like to have a lot of fun. I like to play hard, work hard. I like to travel. Ultimately, I love to create. In every genre, in dressing, in putting things together, and of course in the field that I'm in art and in architecture. So, but I love life. I love to work. I do not like being idle. So therefore, I will keep creating. I love to have 10 important things to do a day. I love to have a full day.
10 important things. Oh my gosh, you're good at multitasking.
I love it. I love just being very active.
Wow. Shiri, the lover of life, lover of everything art and staying busy. We love it. Yes, we love it. Yes. It's so nice to meet who you are. So I love that when you often talk about who you are, you talk about being an artist and an architect in the same line. You don't separate the two. Why is it important, and what does it mean to you to have those two identities?
Well, it means, the fact that I create and, architecture is a creative field and art, of course, is a creative field. So the two genres sort of marry. The art inspires the architecture inspires the art. So it's, of course, I studied 7 years in architecture. So I cannot forget it. And I still work as an architect. But I find my time is split directly into being an artist and an architect. So I cannot, separate the two. And because they are well connected, it's easy to say, well, I'm an artist and an architect. But somehow a lot of people know me as the artist. Yes. Which is fine, because sometimes, it can cause confusion, so I leave it as that, I accept that I'm an artist, and sometimes I don't generally say, sometimes I don't say that I'm an architect, because if you know me as an artist, then that's fine as well. I don't have to say, so they are complementary. Yes. So therefore it's easy to connect them and to say, well, I'm an artist and an architect. So I'm very blessed in that I have two very creative fields that are working, and of course, I cannot live if I'm not creating something.
Indeed, it is a blessing. Sometimes people want to shy away from it and want to only have one defined identity, but I love what you say, that it's a blessing. There's a richness to having those multiple identities. Exactly. It's the same with multicultural backgrounds. Sometimes some people want to shy away from one part of their cultural background, but I think there's richness in everything. So
yes, exactly.
So you started painting at the age of 9, and I'm curious if your parents encouraged you to go into painting, or did it just come to you somehow?
So we had just moved from Cameroon to England, and I was told that I found the materials. It was just there. I hadn't seen any paintings. I had not seen any artists that I was specifically inspired by. So I found the tools. Apparently, my brother tells me that I just found paint and the brushes and the canvas just there. So of course, thank you, Lord, for placing something that you had put in me and placing the tools right in front of me to be able to, to be able to find it and start sort of working and painting. I started painting flowers and just still life. I put objects in front of me and I started painting them just to, initially you have to understand how to paint, how to, perspective and shadows. And so I was learning the beginnings of painting. And my mother, awesome mom, she got, tutors to teach me perspectives and other sort of things, as well as obviously I was learning art in school. But this was extra stuff, which she did for me, which I'm forever grateful. She could have said, this African mothers who arts, what is arts? But she was, but she was actually one of the mothers who. But that's because she's also creative herself. So she understands, she makes clothes. And so she understands that it's a creative thing that she has too. So
interesting. I didn't realize that your mom is into like fashion and clothing. Kudos to you, mommy.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. She always wanted to teach me how to sew, but I was like, okay, look, I'll just paint.
Just paint. Well, it's a family of artists. We love it. So looking at your art, and by the way, audience, feel free to visit her website, shiriachu.com and shiriachuart.com. Her art is beautiful. You can see one of it right behind her over there. And over there, maybe she can talk a little bit about it, but the people are wearing togo, which Togo, which she and I should know how to pronounce it, but she and I are wearing it because we're both from the northwest province of Cameroon. But in your art, you really feature Cameroonian culture and African culture. Why is it important for you to do that? Because you grew up in England from the age of 9. But one would not know because you really center Africanness in your work.
Yes. So as I grew up in London, I was very distressed that everybody knew the Maasai. Like the British traveled to Kenya. Kenya, always Kenya. They love the Maasai. Yes, they're an amazing tribe. I have paintings of the Maasai. But I was really disheartened that people didn't know much about Cameroon. They would always, if I wore something Cameroonian, they would say, but what is that? If I was eating Cameroonian food, they would say, but what is this? They were always asking questions about, and in as much as I was in the environment, learning the culture, knowing, being in Britain, I was, understanding the culture, the way the people speak, the behave. But I also wanted people to also start becoming a bit familiar with other African countries, and specifically my African country. I want you to be able to know a little bit more about where I come from. So I started painting, like I said initially, like just flower vases and just generic things. But I wanted my art to do more, to say more, to educate, to have a meaning. Yes, we can look at beautiful things, beautiful flowers, and the landscapes, and they're all very beautiful, but I specifically want my art to educate somewhat of the culture, of the Cameroonian culture, and also of Africa as a whole. So therefore I started painting, I painted and think about symbols from Ghana. I painted, scenes from Nigeria. And of course I hone in on Cameroon because that is of course where I would always land. Cameroonian.
That is home.
Yes.
Well, that's great. And you go around the world, you do exhibitions, and you do it in different places around the world. And you have a special way that you have named your exhibitions. It's like 35 in print, 36 in print. And you do it in different countries. So please explain your exhibitions, why you do it in different countries and how you name it.
Right. So again, like I was saying earlier about, the British people not really knowing, the African culture as much, I wanted my art to do that. And I thought, in fact, God downloaded this to me, that you would travel to a different country every year and you would exhibit and you would educate people of those countries about some, the Africa culture through your work. And of course, the ultimate aim would be to have painters of every single country sort of represented in my paintings. That would be the ultimate, but that is a huge feat. I'm one person, and
so it's a lot. There are 53 countries, 54 countries, so it's a lot.
Exactly. So I started, I've done Kenya, I've done Ghana, I've done Nigeria, I've done Cameroon. I will carry on as much as I can, but my ethos is about traveling to different parts of the world, exposing them to Africa culture. Okay. So I did 35 in print in London. Then I did 36 in print in Washington, D.C. Then I did 37 in print in Australia. 38 in print was Jamaica. 39 in print was Toronto. And the 40th act was my 10th anniversary, which was in 3 different parts. It was in London, D.C. and Cameroon. Okay. Then the pandemic, then I did it online because of the pandemic.
Right.
And then I did Douala and Yaoundé. So now we are at 44 in print. Yeah. And so next year will be my 10th anniversary. Yeah.
Do you know where you're going to do 44?
I would love to be in Europe this year. Okay. So I am thinking it's going to be either Paris or it will be in Germany. Because I have an invitation to be in Germany. So I was thinking maybe I could sort of attach that with the German thing that I have to do. Or actually do it in Paris. So I will soon know.
We'll know. We'll be following on social medias. So I wanted to ask you, as you go around, I was telling you before that I, growing up in Cameroon and even coming over here in the West, I still don't know many Cameroonian painters, to be honest. And you are one of the most prominent ones out there that we all follow and know. And so I'm just curious, what you think your impact is. I know it's sort of a weird thing to talk about what you think your impact is. It seems not humble, but, we don't always have to be humble. And maybe you've had some experiences where you can talk to us about what you feel your impact is as a Cameroonian pushing in a field where we're usually not encouraged to go into.
Yeah. I have been very blessed to be able to do that and to encourage other young people, not just girls, to follow, such a thing as they would say it, act.
Yes, act.
African parents forget they are in act.
Yes, we love them regardless.
So I am blessed that I am, that I'm one of those people who have inspired, others to pursue, because, you can, whilst you're living a life and you're living a fulfilling life, you can make money. You have to be smart though in how you think and go around it. So you can make a living through it. I mean, of course, parents have a reason to question, why, your children should go into art, because, you want your children to have a good life, to go down the road where they'll be able to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But if you're smart, if you educate your child to know how they can position themselves, what they can do it in a smart way and actually generate an income. With me, my imprint exhibition series are prints of my work. So they are affordable. Okay. They are now, I can have them in different sizes. They can be, from $50 up to $400, depending on the size that you want. Right. So, I had to think about how to generate income through it. So you just have to be smart and position yourself how, to know how you're going to make money through it. And yes, I am very humbled. I have a lot of people write to me that they want me to what's the word?
Mentor them.
Mentor them. I actually had a mentorship program, which at some point I had to dissolve, but I will get back to it because it was so many. I had like 10 pupils in my class. It was a lot. I had to give them what to do. I had to check, but I will, the aim is to somehow go back to doing that because I love doing that. I love being able to inspire and, grow others into something that I love to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And I know there's another little project that you're working on, maybe not so little. You have books that you're working on, and one of them came out of the pandemic. Could you tell us how that book came about through the pandemic and when we can expect to buy and read the book?
The book. Okay, so during the pandemic, what a crazy time it was, right?
Oh, yes.
Everyone was at home, and funnily enough, I usually paint and I usually finish a painting just like this, very quickly. But most of the time I'm sort of focused. I want to get something that I do it. This specific painting had just been sitting there. I had started it, but didn't sort of, finish it. So during the pandemic, I said, okay, I'm going to let people. Normally, I love my solitude. When I'm painting, I don't need anybody around. I like to be, most creative people. They don't. Yes. I have a glass of wine. I'm in my space, in my zone, my painting heaven, I call it. And then I'm painting. But for some reason during the pandemic, I said, let me bring people into my studio. Let me have them watch me complete this painting. And then I thought, whilst I was painting, people, you have nothing else to do. You're at home. We don't know when you're going to come out of this pandemic.
We don't know.
Why don't you write exactly? Why don't you write poetry based on the painting? And the pandemic. So I had poems flooding. I had loads of poems, and they were all amazing. So instead of choosing 3 winners, all of them were winners because all the poems were amazing.
Yeah.
And so those are the poems that I'm actually going to compile into a book, which I'm preparing them now, and it should be released next year.
Next year. Okay. All right. We'll look out for it. We're very excited.
Yes. And there'll be another book as well, which is like my 10th anniversary for the In Point series.
Okay. So 2 books.
Yes. There'll be 2 books. A lot of people have been telling me that I should do like a coffee table book.
Yes.
Summarizing a lot of Shiri artists. They would have pictures and arts and some sayings and some things. So right now I'm doing some words, long live the art of service. I don't know whether you've seen that. So there's a few little catchphrase things, pictures that I think could be quite nice as a coffee table book. So I'm going to be releasing that next year as well. For my 10th anniversary.
I love coffee table books. That'll be awesome. Yes. We'll look out for it.
I put it out there so that I have no choice. Get it done. Otherwise, you can come and say, but Shiri, you said, where's the coffee table book?
I don't see it. My table needs it. Where is it?
Exactly. I need that push to make sure that I get it done. So I put it out there in the universe.
All right, audience, you heard it. So we're going to keep her accountable. Thank you. My last question for you is for those who are listening and viewing on the social medias, how can they support you and where should they go to support you?
So kind words are very great. Thank you so much. I get a lot of kind, encouraging words because the words are wonderful. Yes, it's good to hear, but it actually encouraged me to keep going. So your kind words are always uplifting, always encouraging. So thank you all. So of course, I'm an artist. Artists always needs art to be purchased. So I have a web page. It's shiriachuart.com. So please go there. You have a range of different prizes. You can choose whichever one you want. I have paintings, yes, of typically of Africa, but I have some other paintings as well, which if you want something more eclectic, you can see you have some, so you can go to my webpage. I also have promotional things that I do for special occasions. Of course, I'm on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So it's great to follow me there because that's where you get sort of daily, information. And again, that's Shiri Achu Art.
Shiri Achu Art, the artist and the architect. Thank you so much. We're so grateful.
Thank you so much.
And blessed by your gift. And we hope our audience and listeners and viewers will go out and support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.